Welcome back to Factorio Seablock, and this solution is working to get ourselves some raw wood, which is going into the rest of our system, but I did get an excellent comment after the last video. Basically, there's a way to sidestep this, or at least this process here that we've got going on. And it'll take anything that's organic, so if you have a look here, this is the solution, the composter. Doesn't actually say that, however, as a recipe for compost. It would be really nice if it did, wouldn't it? No, that's the only recipe. However, the composter itself used to turn any organic material into compost. Now, bear in mind, we're generating organic material here, at least I hope that this counts as organic. Let's have a look. What does that say? Organized grows in ordered lines. Yes. So we have farms, and we continue to expand those farms if we want to. And we have a system to reproduce those essentially infinitely. But I do wonder if we can use the composters to go any faster than this process, here to here to here, into this area to produce soil. And if there is, we should be able to speed up this quite immensely. So I thought it best to give it a go, and let's see how that goes on. So let's get started. The composter, let's look into our regular inventory. Can we make it yet? We need steel, electronic circuits, and stone bricks. Okay, so steel is there. Stone bricks are there, and electronic circuits are here. Can I now make one? I can make one. Well, let's see how fast it is. We should be able to just extend this way. And then that will get us some spare organic material, very hopefully. We'll see whether that works very shortly. And then we're going to feed it into here somewhere. So what we might want to do, we could take this solution out if this other one works better, but otherwise we can just feed it sort of here, I guess. Something like that. And that might work. We may end up speeding this up immensely and having an array of all this stuff, so I don't want to do anything permanent for now until we have a look at this and see if it works. Where's the composter? That's the electrolyzer. Nope, I want the composter. Where has it gone? Ah, there it is. Okay, so quite small. It's obviously an Angel's mod item and needs some power. So let's just tell this to do that. There we go. Let's put some power in, and let's get a couple of inserters, and let's see how fast this works. Okay. Okay. Thank you, commenter. In fact, no, I'm even going to go and check who actually said that. 1 second, because that's quite ridiculous. Let's look at compost, shall we? Okay, so someone called the Dodler, apparently. It's definitely obvious, since for some reason it doesn't list it on FNEI, but you can get compost easier by putting anything organic into a composter. Wood, algae, it all works. So that's interesting. We're not going to need to worry about the rest of it, I guess, if this turns into compost that fast. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to take you out, and we're going to take all of you out. And let's just make sure I get that out of the way. And then what we should probably think about doing is moving this down and out. So let's just grab you for a second, and we'll just rework this a little bit. Shouldn't take terribly long at all. So let's just remove that. We're not going to need the water. That's good. We are going to need to bring in this mud, of course. So let's put the assembling units. We could do direct insertion, but I guess it depends how fast this works. So I guess we should probably not do direct insertion. Maybe if we just... Do we have room for that? If we put something onto a line going this way, and then if we have our composter, not our composter, our assembly machine here, yeah, we should have room for that. And we can try as you know, half a belt to start off with. I need to craft some more of that. Pick up some more here, so we can start at a half belt, And that's going to be on the wrong side, but we can just change the inserter side like this. Change that over to drop on this side, and then we can have one here. And we're going to set this to make soil. Okay, so we need power back to you. You will start generating tree seeds as long as I supply soil, I think. Soil and water. Did I just cut off the water? No, there's extra water up there. That's fine. So mud coming in. And then we just need some power, really. So let's just move this to here. That'll give that some power. Give this some power, and then everything will connect. Okay, so on this side, actually, what we should probably do, just to make it a little bit more straightforward. We can't put it there, can we? We have to feed it. We have to feed it back into the top to make this work. So what I want to do is take this side and feed onto that side. So it's going to feed the other side of this thing when soil goes in. And then we can feed this side. That should be enough. We can just cut off the rest. Oops, nah, not quite. We just cut off the rest for now. Okay, so soil goes in, and we can feed out this, so that will get grabbed. And it's going to feed back out on this side. So let me just refill that to make sure everything is working. There it is. All right. And now soil should be produced at a fairly fast rate of knots, depending on how fast we can actually supply it from our farms, which is working pretty well. That's much simpler and a lot nicer. So that will work, and we'll let it, obviously build up a little over time. It should now just buffer up inside. That will get to about, I don't know, 6 or 8 or something. Yeah. And now also we'll go through that way. At which point, of course, we can then double up on this whenever it's not keeping track with, well, not keeping up with our farms. We can just add more onto that. And this will then produce wood, which will then go into the rest of the system. Okay, so I've now got an array of assembly machines here. We're definitely not getting enough wood to them, so we're going to have to expand or change the system. But before we get to that, let's look at what our output needs to be. We've got 2 yellow belts going up here, going in here with input priority left. So it's taking this input first, which is already slowing down the rest of our system. You can see already these are slowing down a little bit. It's easier to see here because the input, the crushed stone, is slowed down enough that it makes it past the mineralized water. Remember, we're doing this to get rid of the mineralized water system because, to be honest, all that power, all this is just to produce mineralized water, and we don't need that anymore if we get converted. So we want to get stone bricks instead. That's fine, or inside slag for ore systems, etc. So 2 yellow belts we need to fill. Each yellow belt takes 800 items per minute. And that divides down to like 13.3 recurring items per second. Don't worry about per second, just work it out to per minute. It's easier. 800. Okay, so I've now got 2 blocks of 8. And let's see how well they'll do at compressing this system. I think I'm going to need to go up to 2 blocks of 10, but you'll see why in a second. So 800 a minute, and it's on this belt. So let's just ignore the second belt for now because it's identical. So in here, we've got a recipe that says 4 cellulose fiber every 2 seconds. And it takes 1 raw wood to do that. So to get items per minute, we're just going to times 4 by, 30. That's essentially 2 seconds per cycle, 30 cycles a minute. So we're going to get 30 times 4. That's 120. Then we're going to have to multiply that up. Except that this is running at half crafting speed. So instead of 120, it's 60. So these two are 120, 240, 480. Okay, you can imagine that's not enough to fill 1 belt. Although it is backing up on the left side. Maybe it can't process it on the other side, but it doesn't matter if it backs up. This is only 480. It's not quite good enough, but if I remember rightly, the blue assembly machines are 0.75 crafting speed. So if we times 480 by 1.5, it's basically 50% faster than this one. That'll take us 720 items per minute, which gets us a lot closer. It'll still probably not be full, but it's going to be close enough that I can just add an extra 2 or something like that, and you know, we'll get more than enough to back up onto a line. So to get that, unfortunately, we've got to look at the inputs to this and see how many of those we need to get everything backed up. So that's going to require a little bit of different maths, but again, not too much of a problem. At the moment, everything around here is 0.5 crafting speed, so it's really quite easy to work out. In fact, you don't even need to worry about multiplying by 50% or anything like that. Everything will be the same. So on this side, we've got seed generator. It produces essentially 16 tree seeds every minute, but it's half craft. Remember, with all of this, it's half crafting speed, so that's only half of that. So it's only really 8. But let's just leave it and assume it's all, you know, the amount until the end. We'll correct it at the end. So 16. That means 4 of these will work. So because each one of these is taking 4 every minute. Okay, so 4, 8, 12, 16. And each of them are outputting 26 every minute. Again, ignore the crafting speed. 26 a minute means, in fact, let's just double check that. 26 every 30 seconds. Sorry, not every minute. So that's 104 for 4 of them every 30 seconds. Or 208 every minute. Again, ignoring crafting speed. So we can feed 208 a minute into this, ignoring crafting speed. And that's where we've got a problem, because these will all consume more than that. If we have a look at how much this consumes, this one will consume 1 raw wood every 2 seconds, or 30 raw wood every minute. Okay, and that means that it's 240 for this, so 480 raw wood a minute is what we need, and we're only being supplied with 208, 480, 208. Not quite good enough. However, we do have another recipe. So if we have a look at raw wood, what we can do with it, let's just go back actually through this. This will be fine. So you'll see here there's this recipe requiring Tree Arboretum 2. That ups us from 26 raw wood to 35 raw wood. And is it made the same speed? 30 seconds. So yeah, it seems to be the same speed. Okay, so let's just take that. I'm going to calculate it. 35 times 4 times 2. That'll be 280. That's okay, I guess. And then if we go to 52, so 52 times 4 times 2 is 416. We're getting a lot closer to 480, which is what we need over here. So that needs Tree Arboretum 3. So we're going to need some research to fill the system entirely and take over from the old system. And that's going to need me to do some more research, but we can do that off camera. You'll see this is already backing up, however. So I think... is everything else backing up? That's probably why. So in the meantime, if we want to slow down this input system, just to make sure that these are balanced, I'm just going to put in a splitter. It isn't healthy to do this long term, but this will just make sure that we don't back up any of the lines and they can continue to process just fine. It will, however, if everything is backing up from the output of this, also stall both of these lines, which I don't mind at all. You'll see these aren't moving very fast at all now. And that in turn means we don't need much of this stone, which means that we don't need much of these electrolyzers, etc. And that should pay benefits in terms of the amount of electricity we're using. However, we want to get rid of this system entirely, which needs me to get more research done. So speaking of that, I guess we need to go and reset up some science stuff, I guess. Second half of the episode. That's going to continue to work just fine. And in fact, we have far more farms here than we actually need at the moment. The other thing you could do is you could set up an identical system to this on the other side, if we could fit it in. It looks like we can just about fit it in. We might have to move this mineral oil tank, but or move everything over a little bit. That actually might be a better solution. In fact, should we just do that? Should we just make sure that we have enough here to get ourselves going with? And I'm going to put in the water fill mod here, I think, to just make sure I have water wherever I need it. But in the meantime, I'm going to go and craft those, and then let's see if we can sort of brute force the solution until we get to the higher tech levels. Okay, so to bulk this system up, we're going to be doing two things. One is making more of those arboretums, but first of all, we're going to tech up, which is just what that's doing, and just finished. So if we have a look at here, we can make more raw wood. The extra ingredient we need, however, is fertilizer. And unless someone says there's a fertilizing bin, like the composter, I don't think there is. We can, however, do two things. One is make tree seeds better, more of them, which means we can probably support... in fact, let's just take a look at that. We make 6 tree seeds, that's extra 50%. So probably it's up to 6 of these again from this one tree seed generator. So that actually might be a good solution. In any case, however, in order to get there, we need to get to fertilizer. And that needs urea gas, which needs ammonia and carbon dioxide. And ammonia comes from blue cellulose fiber, which comes from blue algae, which we already know how to make. Straightforward, I hope. So we're going to need to put this somewhere where we have carbon dioxide and sulfuric wastewater as before. So let's put it here, let's say, and we want blue algae. And of course, it's the wrong way around. That's no big deal to us, though. Let's just gather a couple of stone to ground. And then we're going to set this up identically to this one. And then we're going to need a couple of chemical plants, which I probably already have. Yeah, there's one there. They need to be physically connected? No, they need to be connected one apart like that, I think. And then we can set this one to make ammonia. Or, sorry, blue cellulose fiber first, then ammonia. And that should work. And we just then need to, obviously, hook everything in. So let's just grab a couple of inserters. And connect this up for power purposes. Do we have a power line somewhere? Let's just put it... that's one away. Slightly annoying. There we go. Okay, so then we just need to connect it. So one in that side, one in this side. There we go. And that's hardly any distance at all. And it's already started. So that's going to produce blue cellulose fiber. That in turn is going to produce ammonia nitric gas, and I don't think these have any other side effects. No, ammonia, pure ammonia, and that means we're just going to be able to connect right from here. So let's go back again. We need urea, so no ammonium and carbon dioxide, and we know we already have carbon dioxide right here, so we're going to just be able to grab another couple of stone pipe to grounds, and then we should be able to combine all of this together in the same thing. Now, does that let me put it together in a chemical plant? It does. So let's just get another chemical plant. And we may have to deal with overflow here, so we probably have to get ready to flare stack this stuff if we need to. In the meantime, however, let's just grab this. Oh, that's nice. Stretch all the way down to here, and we need some power poles. Nicely, actually, I could do with some more raw wood. Probably better system that produces raw wood. Never mind, it'll be finished by the time I actually go and grab the raw wood. I've not put it into a box in here. We're just not producing enough of it just yet, so that's fine. What was our chemical plant? There it is. And let's just see what the recipe leads to for this urea. No, do I need some kind of research for it? Nitrogen processing 2, which I can take right now, I assume. Nitrogen processing 1, we need first. Okay, so that's 50 yellow and then 50 red. And once we do that, we'll then be able to select the recipe here and everything will be good. We'll probably just be able to, well, no me, these two will be the wrong way around. So I will see once that's done. Let's just make sure we've got some power. There we go. We've got power on everything. Have you started processing? Oh, that's a solid, so it's not going to pass straight through. I'm going to have to move this one down, but that won't be too much of a big deal. Let's just grab that chemical plant. And let's grab the next chemical plant as well and just put that 2 down, something like that. Then we can just select... there we go. And a couple of inserters. Well, maybe even just one, actually. There it goes. It's producing ammonia gas. And then we just need to wait for the research. Now, I haven't rebuilt science yet. I'm just trying to get out of this sort of power hole that we're in from our algae farms, and that won't be terribly far away, however, so I'll see if I can fit it in at the end of this episode. Depends just how much I get done once we've got other stuff running. Let's take a look at our power requirements. Yeah, we're still running fairly high. It is during the day, so we are getting our solar panel outputs, but at the same time we're actually backing up the fuel quite a bit, which is why the system is slow enough over here, down here, that things are working that way. So if you have a look in here, this is backed up, this is fully backed up, this one is, well, I just took some out of that one. that's my fault. And you are probably going to start getting backed up as well. So every so often when this produces some solid fuel, it just really helps everything get going. And yeah, that's pretty good. Is this system actually running? I need to make sure that it is. And that's where I put all of that fuel that are backed up, just to make sure that this constantly runs wherever possible. And are we consuming too much of any of this? No, we're doing just fine. Okay, so I need to wait for some research to be done. Then we'll complete this system and hopefully get a belt of fertilizer. Now, we're probably going to want to insert it. We're going to want it here, and we're going to want it here as well. So we're probably going to need to rework some things, or take it maybe just alongside here as another input line, something like that. That would work, and we'll just have to wait. We'll have to get it to this one somehow. So maybe just running over and around for this last little bit for that tree seed generator. Back to research, and we'll come back shortly. All right, now that we have that ability to produce the gas, we're now producing fertilizer. I've just got a pipeline running over from that blue algae system over there. And it's running in here, producing more than enough fertilizer for the whole system. You see it's already backing up. And I've changed these over to the second recipe. So each of these are now producing 35 raw wood every 30 seconds. It's half that, so 35 every minute is how fast it's actually going. So that's 70 between those two, actual, 140 obviously actual, and 140 that will get converted upwards by 4. So 140 times 4 is 560. So we are probably going to need yet more stuff out of this system before we're finished, because we're going to need to fill 2 belts with 800 a minute. So that's like a third of what we actually eventually need. However, but because of our system backing up, it's not actually using up that much, I assume, at the moment. In any case, the other thing that recipe did is that this recipe number 2 actually produces 6 tree seeds in the same time it used to produce 4. So we can now support not just 4 here, but 6 here. So I can then go and put those there. And the only thing we need to do is take care of this line here. So we've got another system going. And the easiest way to do that is just to go probably underground here and then up and over. And we should be able to go from that. What do I need for more arboretums? We're going to need steel. I think I had some cooking up over there. Yeah, but not enough. Now I should be able to have enough if I just make more. Yeah, let's just make that more. And let's set up this final one on the top. Well, next final one, I should say. So we're going to need to go underneath here. That way, I think. That should do. And then something like this. Where's my arboretum gone? There you are. So we can do exactly the mirrored setup here. So we're going to want 2. There we go. Put that up there. Hook everything up, and then we're going to need to go in over the top, aren't we? So 1, 2, that's actually just perfectly fitting us right there. Yep. And then we just need water. So we're going to need to pull the water from one of these, which should be straightforward. I'm just going to need some pipe work. So let me just take it all the way over here for now. I'm just worrying about lining it up. I'm not worrying about connecting it just yet. Let's just get some of those made. Now, it's going to take it a second to make this straight pipe, but you get the idea. We're just going to run a pipe work along here and to get these installed. So 1 second. And there we go. We've got 6 of these going now, all off that one tree seed generator. And now this is going to be fed over here. So if my calculations are right, this system will be able to produce actual 840, eventually, these, the, what are they called? Cellulose fibers. It will make very much a quarter of that in wood. And then whatever we put here needs to convert all of that into cellulose fiber. So we don't need to worry about the speed of this array or anything. As long as it's keeping up, it will then turn that, quadruple it. And that quadrupling will make its way up here and into the rest of our system, and thereby slowing down pretty much everything else to a halt up here, which will be good because then we can start removing some of this stuff. In fact, we can probably do that now to get rid of it. So lots of optimization this episode to get us off the green algae, hence off the mineralized water, and onto wood-based production, which is essentially infinite. We're getting that straight from water originally, so going through sand, going through farms and plants and sunlight, and turning that all into a source of power. And we can scale that up as need be. This actually does take up a fair bit of room, but I don't think we need anywhere near as many of that many farms. I need to go and do the math to figure out how many farms I actually need. But this system should be balanced with this. We're obviously producing, well, actually, we're not producing enough. Well, we are producing enough soil. It's just making its way around and buffering on this line. So that's taking a bit of time to get around, but that will pile back once everything's done, because all of this system is about producing more than enough plant material for the composter to actually start this up. And if we wanted to speed that up any, I could just pop in a couple of these, and they would get it going faster to start with. Okay, hope you enjoyed the episode. We are going to go on to science next episode, doing a proper sort of setup over here somewhere. I've now got over 1,000 landfill, and that is continually piling up. So if I just grab that, 1,500, 2,000. Yeah, so we're starting to get a decent amount of landfill, and I will then start opening up a lot of this area so that we can start moving stuff out so it looks a lot less complicated on screen when I'm going through particular setups. If you've got any comments, like the commenter who started this whole episode off by telling me there was a better way than that original setup that I had, feel free to put them below. Hopefully one of those comments won't be, hey, you can produce 4 times that just by this one little tweak. Yeah, doctors hate him, or some kind of similar clickbait. But we've now got a nice source of wood, and that is being turned into fuel, essentially, which is, of course, backing up. So feel free to like, subscribe, share, etc. And we'll see you next time, of course, for some more Factorio Seablock with science setups and probably better furnace setups. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.